What's up, gamers? How the heck are you? My name is Epic Pins, and with the new Grounded unleashing all of its full Yoked glory, we can go into New Game Plus, and we are here today to talk about entering New Game Plus and encountering your first world boss. And trust me, it's a doozy. So you're going to enter New Game Plus and you're going to have all of your gear, all of your milk molars and all that stuff. They will reset, but you will still keep the levels that you've reached prior. You'll just be able to access new levels with your milk molars. But you're going to have all your gear, you're going to have all your stuff. So you are going to be able to run through a little bit of the yard fairly easily until you approach one of the infused creatures. They're going to hit a little bit harder, they're going to have special abilities, but what the game doesn't necessarily tell you is that every world boss is going to also be infused. Yeah. To get to the point where you can upgrade new weapons beyond level 12, you have to defeat at least one of them, and that is the Hedge Broodmother. And we've gotten very accustomed to taking her down fairly simply, and yes, the same tactics still apply, but with a little change. Because she's infused, she's gonna have some things you gotta worry about. So, for the most part, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, this can be a little RNG, because a lot of factors are gonna go into play when you fight her. Now, because she is infused, she's going to have special abilities depending on the one you get. So it changes every single time for the most part when you summon her in. She could have simple explosions, she could have acid ability, she could have electric ability, she could have a sour ability. You don't know, and you don't really know how to plan for it. You kind of just have to hope for the best. Now, in my opinion, I honestly think just the simple explosions are the fairly easy part, and that nothing else beyond that, I don't want to worry about it. But trust me, if she comes in with shock, or if she comes in with super venom that you kind of have to deal with from the infected broodmother, then yes, it's going to be absolutely insane, and it's going to hurt, and it's going to be really hard to deal with. The other RNG that you could have is when she summons in minions, those minions can also be infused. And if you have to deal with an infused minion alongside an infused Hedge Broodmother, this is going to create for just an even more difficult time. Not that it can't be done, it's just it makes it for a really difficult experience. So I would say that if you are having trouble with a certain type, just kind of keep playing it out until you get a more favorable lineup. Sometimes you're going to get where none of the minions are infused, and that's the most ideal. You're going to get where she has a little bit easier ability to deal with, and it's not as taxing as something like super venom or even something like sour or shock. Those things are just can be more difficult to deal with. So just kind of play it out and keep feeling it out until you reach a point where you're getting ones that you really like, or that makes it a little bit easier. And be more patient, don't go attack crazy, because it's going to be a lot harder. Alright, let's quickly go over the pieces of gear that I brought in for this fight. So I like the spicy Coltana. Obviously it has slash and it has spicy, but you can bring in any other thing as long as it has spicy, just because that is the elemental damage she is the most weakest to, but she's also really weak to slash as well. So this is probably the best version that you can bring, in my opinion, obviously. Now, I went with the Assassin's Mask for the cut damage and for the crit. I just like them both, so crit stun's really good along with the cut damage. Works out great in this fight. Ladybug Chestplate is going to give you the extra heal. That's really the only reason I went with this, is just to have, you could put Ladybug anywhere on this lineup, whether it's the mask or the legs or the chestplate, as long as you have it just for the extra heals. They come super beneficial in this fight for when you're popping off heals and you get that extra little bump. And then I went with Fire Leg pieces. These can be interchanged out with kind of anything else that you want to throw in. If you want to throw in moth pieces, or if you want to throw in another assassin piece, if you want to throw in, I don't know, it's whatever you guys want to put in there. The leg pieces don't really matter much, but this does have corrosion damage. You're not going to get the acid damage from this, but you will get corrosion, which is going to weaken her attack or weaken her defense. Could end up weakening her defense throughout the fight, which is really nice as well. If you have this, bring it. If not, I would do maybe a spicy trinket, or just one of the other nice trinkets. You could bring Thor's trinket, any one of those. This is lifesteal. I just happen to have it for one of my science crinkles, just so I constantly had lifesteal happening, and that alongside Ladybug gives you a nice little boost in health as you're fighting, just because the more you hit, the more damage you can get, the more lifesteal you can have off that. Now, when it comes to mutations, I personally, this is me, a lot of people don't go this route. I like crit. I think crit's awesome when it hits. So I like to have my critical chance as high as I can go. So if you have coup de grace, go ahead and get that, throw that on there. Also, go ahead and throw on Blade Master because you're using the sword, so you want to have that on there for your exhaustion timers and things like that. So this will also help with poison resistance. I don't know how to say this, but you guys know what it is. So throw that on for your poison resistance. If you have Trap or Peeper, you can throw that on whatever level you have it. Mine is phase 3. It's Yoked Blows. It's just another big hit to critical damage if you have it. If not, you can throw on something like Extra Health, Mom Jeans, or anything like that. You can throw in any one of these other ones just to help out with the fight. I like Corporate Kickback. This is one that I've used in a lot of boss fights. If you can get enough parries in a row and then start attacking, it enables your health steal to be insanely great. It's like crazy health steal. And this coupled with the Ladybug armor will give you crazy heals. You will watch that health bar just climb multiple times during this fight. This is what I use. This is what I like. But these also can be interchangeable with how you like to play and how you choose to do. One thing I didn't mention though, I will recommend that you do bring a spicy staff if you have it. This will help with the minions during the fight. This was a tip given to me and I've been abusing it ever since. This really does help with minions during the fight. So now let's go over the fight just a little bit. So there's not really much, nothing has really changed other than the fact that she's going to have a little bit of special abilities that you'll have to be ready for and defend against. But the truth is, if you can perfect parry her each time, as long as the perfect parry happens, the attack doesn't take place, if that makes sense. So if she has explosions and you perfect parry it, no explosion will go off. So if you can perfect parry each attack, then you don't need to worry about whatever other ability she has. I know that's a tall order, but just keep that in mind, okay? So the things you're gonna need to watch out for is during the phases where she calls in or summons in some minions, if one of them turn into an infused minion, then you're going to have to deal with that as well. And trust me, it is daunting. It's because they have such a high health bar and they also have a special ability as well. Not to mention they hit even harder. So you got her hitting super hard and then it's basically fighting almost 2 bosses at once in essentially a small area, which is really frustrating, really annoying. But if you can manage it and handle it, good on you. You just have to, be a parry perfect master at that moment. So just watch out for that. So one thing I will say though, when you start the fight, go ahead and wrap yourself up with a heal, just a bandage. That way that heal's ticking over time. And if you think about it periodically through the fight, you got a little bit of a second to heal, just hit yourself with another bandage. So bring plenty of bandages so that way you can hit yourself with a bunch of them, because you can keep a heal tick going on. And that usually helps a lot with poison. If you do happen to get poisoned just a little bit during the fight, that helps a lot with that. It seems to help a lot with it as I'm playing. So just that seems to work for me. Now this is just really about managing the area as best you can. She's relatively slow in her attacks. She's gonna have her normal attacks, everything that we've gotten used to. Just time them as best you can. Keep an eye out for her jump back that's gonna stun you pretty heavily, and her scream that'll stun you pretty heavily. Just keep an eye out for those, but you can parry those things if your timing is good enough for that. Now, once again, this is just going to be managing the area. If you can take down the minions, get them out of her, and just that way you can just focus her, this fight kind of becomes easy. Towards the end, she hits a lot harder and she takes less damage. So that's where that corrosion or that weaken can come in, that weakened defense can come in to really help with that. Also save the ending for your liquid rage or that kind of buff so that you can get extra attack damage in the fight. You guys should do pretty well. If you guys like this content at all, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm always a big fan of showing you guys the easiest, best ways to take on these bosses. They can be daunting, they can be difficult, but I try to make them as easy as possible. Trust me, if I even come up with a way to cheese this boss, I'll be happy to show you guys that any day. No problem at all, because trust me, like dealing with this, getting the infused oozes and stuff like that are kind of a pain in the New Game Plus, and any way I can help you guys get that a little better, that's me. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you were liking the New Game Plus. Let me know in the comments if you are liking this fight or any other boss fights, and if you've enjoyed any of those things, I'd love to hear from you. If you liked this video at all, consider liking and hitting that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to have you be a part of this channel. Love to have you be a part of the community. And as always, guys, I will gladly catch you in the next one. Peace out.